Hi, my name is Clara, and this is my story. I grew up in the heart of London, in a large cream-colored mansion with tall windows that let in the morning sun. My father, Richard Hensley, was one of the most respected businessmen in the city. He owned hotels, real estate, and a chain of luxury boutiques across the UK. Despite all his wealth, Dad was a gentle man. Every morning, he'd kiss my forehead and say, "Clara, never forget, money is nothing without a clean heart." At 24, I had just completed my law degree. Life was perfect. Lavish dinners, family vacations to Paris, and long evenings where Dad and I talked about my dreams. I was his only child, his pride. I didn't know then that happiness could end so quickly. It was a rainy Tuesday when the call came. I was at the university library when my phone rang. "Miss Hensley, your father collapsed in his office. Please come quickly." I remember rushing into the hospital corridor, my shoes slipping on the polished floor. The doctor's words still echo. "I'm sorry, we did everything we could." Dad was gone. Just like that. No goodbye. No last words. My knees buckled, and I sank to the cold floor, my tears soaking my coat. The family gathered a week later at my father's lawyer's office. My uncles, aunts, and cousins, all in black, pretending to mourn. The lawyer cleared his throat. "As per Mr. Hensley's will, all properties, businesses, and accounts are to be transferred to his daughter, Clara Hensley." I noticed the subtle change in the room, the fake smiles, the tight jaws, the cold glances. That was the moment I became their enemy. 2 days later, Uncle Peter invited me to his house for tea. He slid a pile of documents across the table. "Just sign these, Clara. They'll help us manage your father's properties while you grieve. It's too much for a young girl like you." I scanned the papers. They were full of legal jargon, but I caught one phrase: full transfer of ownership. I looked him in the eye. "Uncle, my father trusted me to manage his wealth. I'm not signing anything." His smile faded. "Think carefully, Clara. It's dangerous to stand alone." That night, I found a note slipped under my door. "Walk away from your father's wealth, or you won't live long enough to enjoy it." My hands shook as I read it. Fear crawled into my chest, but so did something else: determination. A week later, I was driving home when a black van sped toward me at an intersection. I swerved just in time, the sound of screeching tires burning into my ears. The van didn't stop. It disappeared into the foggy streets. I knew then, they weren't just threatening me anymore. They were trying to kill me. I hired a private investigator named Martin Reed. He was ex-police, with a sharp eye and a quiet voice. "They'll try again," he warned. "We need proof, enough to take to the police and the courts." From then on, Martin followed every move my relatives made. At a family dinner, Aunt Linda handed me a glass of wine. Martin, sitting nearby, discreetly swapped it with his own. Later, he showed me lab results. It was laced with a slow-acting poison. The betrayal cut deep. These were the people who had held me as a baby. Martin planted hidden cameras and recorded conversations. My relatives were careless. They spoke openly about getting rid of Clara and dividing my father's assets. Every recording felt like a knife in my chest. They weren't just greedy, they were willing to bury me to get what they wanted. One cold night, I returned home to find my front door ajar. My instincts screamed danger. I grabbed the pepper spray Dad had once given me. Inside, 2 masked men rushed toward me. I sprayed one and ran for the back door, my heart pounding. Martin, waiting outside, tackled the other. We called the police immediately. The trial was brutal. My relatives hired expensive lawyers and tried to paint me as unstable. But Martin's recordings, the forensic reports on the poisoned wine, and eyewitness testimony destroyed their defense. The judge's words were final. All properties and assets remain under the sole ownership of Miss Clara Hensley. The defendants are sentenced for conspiracy to commit murder. As the gavel struck, tears rolled down my face, not from joy alone, but from relief. I had survived. I had protected my father's legacy. I stood outside the courthouse, the cold London wind brushing my hair, and whispered, "Dad, I kept your promise. Wealth can build you, but it can also destroy you." I learned that blood isn't always family, and sometimes strangers can protect you more than your own. I still live in the mansion, and I still run my father's businesses. But every loss